As per Article 3 of the Agreement for Lasting Peace and Permanent Cessation of Hostilities, the representatives of the government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the TPLF have agreed to announce to the people of Ethiopia and the rest of the world that after 10 days of intensive negotiations have concluded a peace agreement. Second, we've agreed to permanently silence the guns and end the 2 years of conflict in northern Ethiopia. Three, the conflict has brought a tragic degree of loss of lives and livelihoods, and it is in the interest of the entire people of Ethiopia to leave the chapter of conflict behind and live in peace and harmony. Fourth, it is fundamental that we reaffirmed our commitment to safeguarding the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ethiopia and to upholding the Constitution of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Thus, Ethiopia has only one national defense force. We've also agreed on the detailed program of disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration for the TPLF combatants, taking into account the security situation on the ground. Fifth, we've agreed that the government of Ethiopia will further enhance its collaboration with humanitarian agencies to continue expediting aid to all those in need of assistance. Sixth, we've agreed to implement transitional measures that include the restoration of constitutional order in Teigrayi region, a framework for the settlement of political difference, and a transitional justice policy framework to ensure accountability, truth, reconciliation, and healing.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Redwan. Mr. Getachew.
So, to start implementing these undertakings without delay, we have agreed to stop all forms of conflicts and hostile propaganda. We'll only make statements to support the expeditious implementation of the agreement. We urge Ethiopians in the country and abroad to support this agreement, stop voices of division and hate, and mobilize their resources for economic recovery and rehabilitation of social bonds. 8. The government of Ethiopia will continue the efforts to restore public services and rebuild the infrastructures of communities affected by the conflict. Students must go to school, farmers and pastoralists to their fields, and public servants to their offices. The agreement requires the support of the public for its smooth implementation. This is a new and hopeful chapter in the history of the country. 9. We express our gratitude to all actors contributing to the success of this endeavor, in particular, the African Union Commission Chairperson, the African High-Level Panel led by His Excellency former President Olusegun Obasanjo, supported by His Excellency former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and Her Excellency Dr. Fumuzile Belambo, former Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa. We thank the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Mr. Musa Faki Mohammed, Commissioner Bankole Adoye, and his colleagues for their tireless work during these talks. We rely on their continued support as we implement the agreement. 10. We thank His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of the Republic of South Africa, and Her Excellency Dr. Naledi Pandor, the Minister for the Department of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa, for the excellent facilities they put at the disposal of these talks and their words of encouragement to the parties toward the successful results. We are indebted for the hospitality accorded to us by the people and government of the Republic of South Africa. 11. We are grateful to the people of Ethiopia for encouraging these talks and patiently waiting for the outcome. We are confident that they will embrace the results of these talks and ensure their timely implementation. 12. Finally, we are confident that friends of Ethiopia and members of the diplomatic community will lend their support in rebuilding infrastructure in affected communities and the economic recovery of the country. We call on all types of media outlets to support peace, reconciliation, unity and prosperity in Ethiopia. Jointly delivered at Pretoria, the Republic of South Africa, 2nd November 2022.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Redwan and Getachew. Excellencies, with your permission and that of the Minister, may we give them a round of applause. Excellencies, at this point, we now have the formal signing ceremony. So we'll bring the table to the front, and I would like to invite Mr. Getachew Reda and Ambassador Redwan, if they can come to the table for the signing of this very important peace agreement. copy will be given to His Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo, the High Representative for the Horn of Africa, and the Chair of the panel. Another copy will be given to His Excellency Dr. Naledi Pandor, the Minister of International Cooperation for the Republic of South Africa. And then the final and fifth copy I will keep. I'll have to take this back to my bosses in Addis, to the chairperson of the African Union Commission. Thank you very much, Excellencies. At this point, Excellencies, we would also like to invite both Ambassador Redwan and Mr. Getachew to initial the joint statement that they read out. So if you can initial the joint statement, we'll appreciate that. Thank you. Start with Getachew, and you go to Ambassador Redwan. Thank you very much. A copy of that statement will also be submitted to President Obasanjo and the panel, and the two delegations will get identical copies of the same document. Excellencies, at this point, this brings us to the session with the media, and what we have agreed with the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. This particular session will be moderated by their Director of Communications, Mr. Clayson. And what we agreed was the questions will be exclusively directed to the panel and not the delegations. And I think we'll encourage Mr. Clayson to make sure that all questions are directed to the panel and Dr. Naledi Pandor, but not the delegations. Over to you, Mr. Clayson.
Thank you very much, Excellencies. So we're doing three questions. Bongoena, please start. There's a roving microphone there next to you. Just introduce yourself first.
My name is Sophie Mokoena from the South African Broadcasting Corporation. My question relates to women. I see men in ties and suits, no woman. One thing that the UN spoke about is that you will not have a lasting solution in terms of peace if you exclude the majority of the population. And in this case, you are talking about women. Why? And lastly, for peace to hold, you have to monitor and ensure that those who have a hand in fueling the conflict are on board. What's going to happen to Eritrea, that's being accused of meddling in the affairs of Ethiopia, and the Ethiopian government also saying that there are international forces that are meddling in Ethiopia's affairs? Thank you.
Khalita?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Conita Hunter from News 24 in South Africa. There has been a description of these talks today as being very tense over the past few days. If you can just give us an indication of what were some of the sticking points that threatened these talks from collapsing. And secondly, as part of this agreement, will the federal government reverse its decision to designate TPLF as a terror group? If any one of the members of the panel can please shed light on that. Thank you very much.
Let's go to Reuters. That'll be the last question for this round. There's a microphone right there.
Tim Cox from Reuters. My understanding of this agreement is that you've agreed to stop shooting at each other, but obviously there's a lot of questions about what else needs to be agreed upon. I wondered if you could, if either delegation could talk about what still needs to be agreed and whether any progress has been made on that before you have a kind of full-blown political settlement. Thank you.
The first question is about women probably as part of delegates and how much is the interest of women and children just read part of Article 4, which talks of protection of civilians. The parties shall protect the human rights of the civilian population and commit to holding applicable international humanitarian law instruments to which Ethiopia is party. The parties shall in particular condemn any act of sexual and gender-based violence, any act of violence against children, girls, women, and the elderly, including recruitment and conscription of child soldiers and support family reunification. Although, and of course, with the panel, we say we have a distinguished lady, not do we have a lady who was a deputy president of this great country and is also a member of the panel of WISE in the AU. And our contribution into the content, particularly protection for women and children and the vulnerable, was tremendous. As far as delegation is concerned, I will not be able to say anything about that. The other question, again, remember, is that, look, what were the sticky points? President Uhuru, I think you better attempt that, and then maybe you come up and say a little bit about women and children. And President Uhuru, you also talk a little bit about what concerns religion. It's part of the question.
Thank you, President. The points that came out or that were read out are only very general remarks about what the document contains. But I think the two parties put in a lot of effort, especially when it came to laying out the principles and the objectives of this agreement. It goes into quite a bit of detail as to how disarmament will happen. It also talks a lot about humanitarian access, resumption of services throughout the country or throughout the affected areas. It talks about the process of reintegrating the Teigrayan region into the federal government. It talks about the return to constitutional order. It talks about the fact that disputes will be resolved politically and not through the guns anymore. It goes further and talks about processes and how women and children and civilians would be treated. But as has been stated, this is not all that needs to be done. We've gone through, for example, how this agreement shall be monitored and verified. The devil will be in the implementation, but it is our strong belief that from the commitment that we have seen from the two parties, they will deliver. And we, as the panel, plus our partners, stand ready to assist and will be part of the verification and monitoring process. The agreement, because it is between two parties, talks about their commitment to resolving the problems of Ethiopia as Ethiopians, and the fact that no party will engage in activities that are detrimental to the other. It talks about the ENDF being the only national army of Ethiopia and its duty and responsibility to safeguard the territorial integrity of Ethiopia. So that again lays out quite clearly that this is an Ethiopian problem to be resolved by Ethiopians. So we still have a lot of work to do in terms of beginning the political process. But the most important thing is the unwritten. And the unwritten is the building of trust and confidences between all parties concerned, and the recognition that the solution to the problems of Ethiopia lie in the hands of the people of Ethiopia. We are here to assist them in that process. And all we can ask and call for is any destructive force from whatever part that seeks to destabilize this process, either from within or from without, should take note that the people of Ethiopia now desire peace and now desire to resolve their internal issues through peaceful means. So I think that is what I want to say, Madam Kumzile. I don't know if you'd like to add something. Sorry?
Yes, thank you. Well, I would just like to say that the main thing about this agreement is the silencing of guns. And it is also about ensuring that we stop the killing. We were very much aware throughout the negotiations about the importance of stopping the killing. And this is what we are hoping for as we announce this agreement. Also, Ethiopia is a complex country. These two parties are not the only two groups that are relevant for peace to happen in Ethiopia. So we are entrusting them with the responsibility of going back home to socialize this agreement, to make it acceptable, to ensure that many more people embrace and accept this agreement. We know that they cannot convince every single Ethiopian, so they will learn to work with others who may have some concerns about this agreement. And that is why the support of the international community and everyone else who wish peace for Ethiopia is going to continue to be important. We need to accompany them for them to fulfill their task as best as possible. On the issue of women, indeed, I think we have committed to each other on this side as the panelists that will ensure that we always have women in our teams as we move forward, and nudged the colleagues on both sides to do the same. One of the parties has already promised me that in the next time we meet, we will see suits and skirts, and I hope that it's not going to be difficult to make sure that both parties will do the same, because that is important. Lasting peace, as it has been shown, comes when there is inclusion and diversity, and this peace is not going to be an exception. Thank you.
Excellency President Obasanjo, President Uhuru Kenyatta, this brings us to the end of the engagement with the media. I would also like, I think, once again, on behalf of the Chair of the Commission, to extend our sincere gratitude to you, but more importantly also to Dr. Naledi Pandor and the government and people of South Africa for the warm hospitality and the facilities that they put at our disposal. The final order of business that we'll want to do now, I would like to invite Ambassador Redwan and Getachew to join the panel here for a group photo. And after that, I would like to invite their delegations, all of them, to join for a bigger family photo. So we'll start with Getachew and Ambassador Redwan to join the panel here, and Dr. Naledi Pandor. And they'll be followed by members of their team. And I would also like to invite the three observers, Dr. Wokne, Madam Tete, and Mike, to subsequently join the group photo. Excellencies, may I crave your indulgence and ask if you could come in front of the tables. I think that would be, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. May I now invite the other members of the delegations to join. General Sargan, Dr. Gideon, please.
Guys.
Thank you very much. May I now invite the three observers, Dr. Wokne, Madam Tete, and Mike Hammer, to join. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Please. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we remain in that formation, and then the observers will join, and the African Union as well. The observers and the African Union. Thank you very much. May I now humbly also request I think we are done with the group photo with the observers. Do we have a photo? Now, Excellencies, I think I owe it to my team. They've worked so hard. May I request a special photo for my team and the panel and the two heads of delegations, and later on everyone else will join. This is a humble request. So can I call on my team, Ambassador Farah and others, if you can come to join this family photo. Thank you.
Welcome.